Living in a daydream. Ooh, such a sweet thing. Life on the big screen. It's such a beautiful scene, yeah.
Welcome back to the kitchen, everybody. Nathan,
Good morning,
how are
Jacob.
you?
Hey, you know what? Just telling all our listeners / viewers, if we sound sick, if
Especially
we look
listeners.
sick, especially listeners, we are sick, and I guess that's the result of a international 2-week cruise. You know?
Yeah. You guys just got back from Wild and Rome's first ever, I guess Art of Luxury's first ever.
Yep.
Retreat, photo video retreat all across Europe, 8 styled shoots, 10 days, Spain, France, Italy, just crazy. It was just insane.
Yeah.
And we just got back, and I got heat stroke towards the end of the trip, and then I think that morphed into COVID, and I've been down for the last 10 days, so that's why we missed last week's podcast, but
I think
it was
I think
worth
we
it.
we did. It was worth it. We promised we were going to make an episode on the cruise, which did not happen. You
Brought
were
our
very
stuff, though.
sick. Yeah, we did.
We were
The
planning
thought
on
that
it.
counts. It's the thought that counts. I went with my whole Shure SM7B thing. And
Yep, same.
brought that extra 5 pounds in there. So it's the thought that counts, you know.
Yeah, but we are back. We're home. Excited to be home. Guys, even after traveling all over Europe, and I hope I don't sound spoiled saying this, Utah's superior in every way. It's the goat locate. It's the best kept secret in the world. Is
It
Utah.
really is. It truly is. Man,
I
last night
couldn't wait to get back to Utah.
I've never sweat so much in my life than the Europe. Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
I love
Sweaty
Europe.
people.
I love every single time I go there, but this past time I think I hit my wow, I don't think I can possibly even sweat anymore limit.
You forget how humid Europe is.
Oh man, middle of August,
Yeah.
it's game
and
over.
then you guys are gonna love this. I had this thought. I was like, wait a second, and I looked at my time hop. We've been in Europe every single August for the last 3 years.
Yeah.
And every single time we sweat to death.
And every single time we say, all right, we're not going to come back in August. And then we do. So look at us.
We do.
Yeah,
But-
last night I was outside in the sunset weather, and it was like 80 something
Oh, yeah.
degrees. Oh my gosh, though. It was like I could have propped up a little hammock and lived out there. It was so nice.
Yeah, dude. Yeah.
So
Utah summer nights are god tier. It's
Yeah,
perfect.
You can't beat them.
Perfect. You guys, speaking of international travel, we just launched this week another workshop. We haven't launched one. We have a New York content day coming up, but as for our workshop, we haven't done one since last October. We have Ireland coming up this October, and we're already launching next October, 2025's workshop in Morocco with Emma K Films, 31 Films, and Will Sarmiento. It's going to be big. It's going to be huge. I think Emma had some connection in Morocco and kind of opened up this door to saying, hey, should we do a luxury workshop in Morocco? And we were like, I think we should. So if you want to grab a ticket, I'm not sure if we have any left by the time this episodes get published, but we'll link it below. Tickets go pretty fast. There's a small down payment to reserve your spot, and then you have all of next year to pay it. So Morocco, 5 days, 4 luxury shoots, 25 attendees, lots of networking, all inclusive, food. We're staying in this beautiful, beautiful villa. And it's gonna be amazing. I think Emma wants to do like a Moroccan excursion.
Yeah, there's going to be like a
which,
day where we're
which would be
actually
cool.
we're not working at all. We're actually going to go see Morocco, and that's
Maybe riding some camels.
dude. I would
perchance.
love that.
Hump
if
day.
If you're a photographer listening to this and you don't know who 31 Films is or Will Sarmiento, we're also going to have Courtney J Photo there along with Hannah Brooke Photography. So if you've ever heard us talk about Courtney, she is our favorite person literally on planet Earth. We would shoot every single wedding with her if it was possible. That's how much we love her. So she's also going to be there. This is, mainly a videographer workshop, but just chat with us. If you are a photographer, maybe we can make it happen.
I think we'll make it happen.
Yeah.
So you guys, we'll link that details below the landing page. You guys can check it out, see if it's for you. Coming back off of the cruise, the opportunity to get content and have international content in your portfolio, that's what these shoots are all about. So not only will you get to meet 25 people, get to meet us, hang out, we'll have some amazing educational days. We get to learn from us, Emma, Aaron Tharp, Will Sarmiento, but you also get to walk away with some awesome content. And hopefully from our last workshops, just a friend group, like a really solid network of friends who are like you, are trying to improve and get better and invest in their businesses. So anyway, details below. Super excited for 2025's Morocco workshop.
I guess you could say this episode is sponsored by that workshop. Why don't we just say?
I guess it is.
Yeah, I mean, we spent the first 6 minutes talking about it, so let's just say it is.
Yeah, if you guys want to, we'll have a chapter marker on this episode. You guys can skip ahead if you're not interested. But anyway, what we're going to be doing today is figured before we get back into like the nitty gritty of, fulfilling podcasts and I guess educationally deep podcasts, we wanted to do another written by you
worthwhile
podcast where we read your story. Yeah, where we read your submissions and we judge you for how you handle those situations.
Yeah, can't wait for this one.
We're only going to dive into 2 stories today, Nathan.
Yeah. In the spirit of kind of shortening our podcast to be more, I guess, commute friendly, kind of keep it around the 30-ish minute mark, we're going to do 2. And both of them are the story category of dropping the ball, which are really fun. I think those are some of our favorite.
Yeah. We made this category a year ago because we were like, you know what? Let's have a part of this podcast where we can actually take some accountability for our mistakes, not just make fun of vendors. And so this was the category's opportunity to kind of say where you blundered anonymously. And lo and behold, because we're all prideful people, this is our least submitted category.
Yeah, there's
so I guess videographers never make mistakes. So.
I forgot.
Which I think says everything it needs to say about how horrible we are as vendors.
Yeah, videographers are the worst.
So I'm excited. Nathan, do you want to do the first one or should I take it?
Yeah, I'll do the first one. Okay. This one, just at a first glance here, I'm convinced this is someone who has listened to the podcast before and has heard us talk about structuring your sentence and giving it proper punctuation, because this is all one run-on sentence, and it looks like a 2-minute read.
Oh, so it's a spite towards us then?
Yeah, I think so. It's
Off
only
to a horrible start.
It only has commas. It only has commas. So I'm doing some live translation here. I'll try to break it up.
We're about
so
to
it
tear
makes
you to
sense.
shreds.
Yeah, that's the first big no.
You'll never submit again.
I'm already against you in this case. Okay, this is from a videographer dropping the ball. Okay, this is a story about Well, I love the preface. It sounds like
This is beautiful.
Yeah, it sounds like DreamWorks. This is a story about multiple wedding footage being lost, careless storage, and ending up in a pay raise. A big wedding videography company, more than 10 people, the bosses never bought drives, nor did they pay for cloud storage. We had to buy it with our pay and keep it safe. Eventually, a drive fell while we were walking out of a car, and then months later, we found some of the footage in that drive was the only backup from our coworker. From there, chaos ensued. Blame was thrown. Yeah. What's
going on?
Yeah, I know. I've placed a lot of words in here to make it make sense. I hope you appreciate what's going on. So
I'm not even following along. I'm just enjoying your voice. I'm not even reading. I'm just listening.
Oh, yeah.
I started and I was like, I can't do this. There's no periods.
Yeah.
But summarize for us.
I think
so far.
I'll put a screenshot of
for our
this
slower
story
listeners.
of how this is actually written, and I guess the justice I'm doing by inserting some words here. But what I'm getting out of this is that this is a large company and they have contracted shooters working for them under salary, and it doesn't sound like the company ever paid to have any backup, no storage, no SD cards, whatever. The employees had to buy it themselves. Okay.
Gotcha. So the employees are in charge of data management.
And yes, and they had
the
to keep
contractors,
it safe.
I guess.
And they had to keep it safe. It doesn't sound like there was a place to put it at the company, which leads them to say, eventually a drive fell while we were walking out of a car. We'll touch on that in just a sec. Months later, we found some of the footage in that drive was the only backup from our coworker. From there, chaos ensued. Blame was thrown in every way, and lies were given to the couples and planners. Man, I'm really struggling.
Well, let's just finish it.
Okay. A few bad reviews and a lot of money lost later. We were having a meeting. Hell, we
is this
went
the downfall
there speculating. Tolman? Are we back at Tolman?
Is this the story? Is this what started it all?
Dude, I don't know. I would love if he would have mentioned that in this
That'd be crazy
run-on sentence. Okay, so lies were given to the couples and planners. I guess it does kind of sound like that, huh? A few bad reviews and a lot of money lost later. We were having a meeting. Hell, we went there speculating how some of us would even get fired. But when we got there, they told us about a 10% raise in their hopes that we would have more than enough money now to buy enough storage for that to never happen again. Listeners, keep in mind there's still never been a single period in this sentence. We're still going. Only now do we come to the question that says, my question is, do you guys agree with these practices? Whose fault was this? I've always agreed that because we got paid hourly for filming and for each video edited, it wasn't our responsibility to keep the footage safe. After all, that footage is the company's property. So, before we talk about our opinion...
So they're also editors.
Yeah, but
they
before
edit
we talk,
the videos they shoot. Okay, go on.
Yeah, before we talk about our opinion, let's just make sure we got the story straight.
Please.
Okay. They worked for a company. The company didn't buy any storage, didn't buy SD cards, it sounds like, didn't buy SSDs. That was left to the employees to do with their own pay. Sounds like they shot for wedding couples, and that we just had to assume because they said the word couples and planners. They shot a wedding and they put it on a drive, and that drive fell out of their pocket, of their bag or whatever when they were getting out of a car. We can only assume that it broke because they were trying to blame each other because there was no other backup of it.
So I assume the footage was lost.
I assume that, yeah. And they were just they said chaos ensued. So a lot of things can happen in that chaos. But yeah, I guess it was lost, I think. And then they had a meeting with this company expecting to get fired, and to their surprise, they all got a 10% raise for their amazing behavior. That's what I got. Yeah,
that's instantly got spent on more drives.
Yeah, I think that's what happened in this story.
Okay.
So, with that being said, Jacob,
what a poorly managed business.
What a terrible business.
What you should quit and do your own thing. You would make so much more money on your own than working for this just shiz show of a managerial business. This is horrible. It's just embarrassing. If I was listening to this podcast and I owned that company, I would be embarrassed, mortified. This is horrible. Horrible management.
I don't know any production company that makes their employees buy their own drives and store it on their own drives, and they don't have a central system.
Yeah. Ew. So maybe you edit for them, right?
Right.
Still, there should be a central hub.
Absolutely.
A 80 terabyte drive somewhere where it says, okay, after your wedding, you bring the footage to the hub, you dump the footage, and then you make a copy of it, hopefully 2 copies of it. So it's on the main hub, the main hub's backup hub, and then the editor's SSD.
Yep.
That would have fixed everyone's problems. And then also, if you're making gear, contractors buy gear out of their own pay, the contractors need to fight back and just send invoices for reimbursements.
Yeah. Yep.
That's a business expense that you're not. Why are you buying it?
Right.
It shouldn't cost you money. Those are expensive. You're probably buying crappy ones if they're breaking when you drop them, because my SanDisk ones, you could throw those across the parking lot and they wouldn't break.
Yeah, I want to just talk about just the casual throwing in of that story of, oh yeah, it just fell while we were getting out of the car.
Yeah, okay.
All right.
It was probably like one of these like the Glyph drives, like the big heavy duty hard drives that like are fragile.
Yeah. Yeah, again, some more
Why was it in your car?
Yeah, I know. Some more background would have been nice, because I was picturing like a small little SSD, but I feel like that would just be tucked away in your backpack.
Or what if they dropped it and then they ran over it, and then, you know what I mean? Maybe it
lots of unanswered questions from this story. But
we should do a drop test with the SSDs. That would be a great video, and we should run over them and see what happens.
That actually is
I bet they'd survive.
that's a pretty good idea. Let's do that. We should do
Follow
we should do
this.
the SanDisk because SanDisk is in some hot
Yeah.
water apparently.
We should do SanDisk, Jacob Owens,
Samsung.
Tropic, whatever.
Yeah, the Samsung ones.
The Samsung ones.
And what's the
The
new
new ones
one
we
that,
have.
that you really what brand are those? Holy cow.
Samsung. I think.
Well, all the sunlight in my
But
it just got
definitely
really dark.
Jacob Owens, the new one, you know.
Yeah. Oh yeah. The
And
blazing
Google.
fast
We
ones.
should do a drop test. Either way, glad you got your raise, but like in the grand scheme of things, it's not really paying for anything if you have to buy your own hard drives.
Yeah. I do wonder if this was Tolman. Because we've only heard
Sounds like
speculations
how they
about
ran their
Tolman.
business.
Because wasn't the thing with Tolman, again, we're still trying to get him on the podcast. Nothing. Wasn't it like just one bad wedding? Like one couple didn't have their videographer show up or like they canceled last minute and then that caused like a ripple effect. Isn't that what's kind of like the general consensus of what happened?
Yes and no.
What's the
I
full
also
story?
believe, I think the big rock that tumbled and started the avalanche was they were behind on paying their contractors.
Oh.
And enough complained, or a few complained, and so then Tolman Media made an unlisted YouTube video that he sent to all the contractors saying that
I remember that.
they'll be paid,
You're right.
but it's on its way. Then someone leaked the video, and it caused panic.
I do remember that. I do remember
That's
that
what it
video.
was. But that was also coupled with bad reviews.
Yeah. Okay.
Man,
The Great Fall.
so what's this person's question? Have I answered it?
I think we answered it. The question was, whose fault was this? Do you agree with these practices? And I mean, the practices are pretty black and white here. If you are a media company, it doesn't matter if you're doing commercial or wedding or like whatever you're doing. If you are the company owner, you need to have a central storage for backup, a massive hard drive, hopefully a backup and another backup. And then from there, the editors should have their own SSDs that they're editing the current project off of. That I feel is the best practice, right?
As of right now, just for those curious, Runaway Vows, we have a Glyph hard drive, which we kind of pass around. Then we just got two 40 terabyte hard drives that are duplicates for me and Nathan both to have, which we will update with content regularly so that they're identical copies. So we both have access to content. And then we have a NAS system archive that has our everything we've ever shot from 2021, 2022, 2023, and then we'll buy one for 2024 that is just backed up forever. And so once we finish the year, we offload it onto the cloud, and it's just sitting there. Everything we've ever shot. So clients can ask us in 20 years, can I buy a ceremony edit? And we're like, yeah, actually you can. So, and then not to mention on top of all of that, we have personal SSDs that have like our active projects on them. So
That always go missing somehow.
yeah.
Yeah.
But you should, and gosh, I'm just so triggered because if I were to blame our employees for losing footage, that's just so funny to me. It's so silly.
That's
It should be
tacky.
my problem. I should have backups on backups, not for if, but for when my shooters and editors lose the footage.
Yeah, I totally agree.
So no, you're not responsible.
No.
I mean, be more careful getting out of the car, but no. not
Yeah,
your
be more
problem.
careful.
There's no backups.
Yeah.
That's stressful
Okay.
too.
Yeah, very stressful.
Yeah.
Appreciate the question though.
Gosh. Just work on your sentence
long-winded it was.
structure.
Yeah, however long-winded it truly was.
I would even recommend resources are free to just upload to like one of those spell checkers and say, hey, punctuate this for me. Maybe ChatGPT.
ChatGPT. Yeah, ChatGPT does miracles.
I'll give you my login and you can use ChatGPT to submit your next story.
Just anything but that last book-long sentence.
Yeah, geez. All right,
Hey,
moving
I
on.
appreciate the Oxford commas, though. I always will.
We appreciate the submission. Submit more.
Too many Oxford commas.
Okay, the next story, another dropping the ball story. More
Okay,
accountability
let's
from the videographers.
Let's hear it.
Also, I think that was management dropping the ball. I mean, yes, the videographer dropped the drive, but
Right. that was good, Jake.
our videographer is ever at fault. I think he's innocent on this one. All right, moving on.
All right.
This happened. This is from a videographer. This happened to a coworker, big company. Just wait, is this the one? No, different one. Wow,
Is this
somewhere
another?
beginning.
Wow.
Okay. This happened to a coworker, big company, just being crazy careless. To preface this, huge wedding film company reaching more than 100 big weddings on 1 year, about 13 employees between editors and videographers, one secretary with far too many tasks, and 2 bosses who all they care about is money and selling.
I'm convinced
What
this
happened?
is the same person from the
I'm
previous
convinced as
story.
well. Or Tolman Media. What happened was there was a change in the date of a wedding, moving it 1 month earlier. The secretary, stuck in a million tasks, tried to reach my boss for the change. He didn't answer. Then a day before the wedding, she reminded him there was something weird and apparent pending change. Still no answer. The next day, my 2 coworkers got a call asking them to race the wedding, already missing the ceremony. They got there in the middle of the reception, both having to come up with explanations as ordered by our boss. They didn't even try to protect the company, told them the truth, and the couple's words were, "F your boss, we lost the memory of our day." My coworkers simply agreed with them, and I can't tell you the amount of luxury weddings we get a call the night before. Sorry.
100% the same person. That is 100% the same person. That
Did that
was
drop
one
off?
sentence. No, I think that was the end of the story.
How? Okay. Well, so
Amount of
again,
luxury-
management sucked.
Whatever this company is, I hope they don't exist.
Yeah, you guys need to get it together. Like, seriously. Just a horrible process. Okay, so many. Yeah, wow. Okay. I mean, first of all, Nathan, can you even imagine? Try to see the straight face. Can you even imagine missing somebody's ceremony? The most important moment of someone's day, and you just miss it?
I cannot even picture that in my wildest dreams. How would that ever happen?
Well,
I seriously can't think of a single scenario that would ever make that excusable. Even if
Not
it
a
was
one.
like a really close family friend that recently had, their son get married and then their daughter get married a month later with the exact same locations, time, photographers, and venues, and except for one venue. Yeah, I can't imagine that possibly being an issue or a happening. No.
You guys don't get that much detail in a joke unless you've lived it.
Yeah. No. it's
Anyway,
pure speculation.
but first of all, the videographers aren't at fault. Sounds like they just kind of they just are told where to go, and they go. Again, I blame the management, and I think maybe this videographer's wife is the secretary or husband, but they are at fault here, pretty gravely. You can say they're overburdened by
Right.
tasks, but at the same time, I think priority one, if you're a company that films weddings, is to make sure you have the wedding filmed, and especially like what's your process? Because for us, we always reach out to our couples a month or two before just to kind of make sure we're on the same page, because to avoid situations like this. And so it's just like, it just tells me a lot that, like, one, you're not really giving your couples the care they deserve if you're not really, I mean, clearly, if you're not even willing to confirm that you have the timeline that you're showing up. Like, where is the timeline? Like, who's the point of contact? I just have so many questions, and I just think it was, I mean, I'll blame the secretary a little bit, but I think obviously the bosses for either not caring or trusting a secretary who is either incompetent of doing their job, or they just need to hire more employees. Maybe a 14th employee would be nice, / needed. So,
I agree with that take. I 100% agree with the words of my partner. Here, this is the funny little spin I have on this, is that I assume this is the same person who wrote the previous story. Sentence structure, semantics,
Yep.
everything. 100%. This is 100% the
commas.
same person. Now, my first thought was, who is this company? And why are they running their
I need to
business?
know.
How are they still in business? But
They need
they
to be held
prefaced
accountable.
they prefaced this story with, "This happened to my coworker. This is not my story," which means there are two different businesses we're talking about here.
Or
Who
they
are
just
these
one of the
people
other
working for?
employees? Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah, I mean, it'd be important to know.
Like, who
I also
are these
like,
companies? What are they
And
doing?
here's how it's slimy that the bosses told the videographers to make up an excuse when they arrived.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
slimy.
it's true. The boss. But yeah, he said happened to a coworker, a big company just being crazy careless, huge wedding film company. So it sounds like it's a different company. What circle do these guys have themselves in? And are there that many
Yeah.
companies out there doing this sort of stuff? And are they the people that are ruining it for a lot of actual credible wedding videographers?
Oh, absolutely, dude. Tolman Media and everyone like it is just puts the worst taste in the videography community's mouth.
What was the
And
other
I think
video company in like Chicago or something that was doing this?
was it Petite Four Films?
Yeah, I think that was it.
If it wasn't, I'm sorry.
I'm
That's
sorry.
your
Yeah,
company.
yeah.
If it
was
was
something like that.
screw you.
Yeah.
There's another one. They always pop up. They come up every year and then
Yeah.
they die.
Yeah.
But like those businesses are the reason people still don't prioritize video,
yeah.
especially in the mid markets, I'd say.
That
And
sucks.
I mean, I think Tolman is you can fairly say is the lowest market.
Right.
Based on the sales I always got advertised that they were pushing like $1,000 for photo and video coverage. I'm like, okay,
Yeah.
if you're outsourcing everything, someone's not getting paid.
yeah.
And I have a feeling that that the owner was doing just fine.
Yeah. Mr.
So, but yeah, it's
featured
just
on
like it's
Forbes
just
30 under 30.
disgraceful. And I also like not to open this can of worms again, but that last sentence, I wonder if they were trying to say, I can't tell you the night before the amount of luxury weddings we had a call from asking if we're going to be there because of maybe some bad review.
Yeah.
But I think we're using the word luxury incorrectly.
I was about to call-
I have a hard time believing that this type of company could possibly
Exactly.
be doing anything close to luxury.
I was going to call BS on that too.
Yeah.
There's
So-
no way a luxury wedding is just like, hey, night before, you guys
Yeah.
showing up? It just doesn't.
Because I also
happen.
know if you were to do that at an actual luxury wedding, I don't think you'd ever work again.
No. Planners
I
talk.
think your company would be cooked. Yeah.
Yeah, planners talk.
Yeah.
You're not making it.
All right, Nathan. So then what's the next step? What do you do when you miss someone's ceremony? You show have it through the reception.
Wow.
Well, how do you make it right?
This one is a little bit different because it is a big company with a boss. If it's if you're an independent contractor or freelancer, I'd say it's a different protocol. I mean, if I'm showing up and I'm hired by a massive company that's been crazy reckless, first off, might be terrible to say, but if I get a call saying like, I need you to book it to this wedding, I don't feel like I need to. That's not my issue. That sucks. I know, like, it's someone's big day, but unless you're compensating me like very, very well to do so, I don't feel the need to fix your problem. If you're the boss, you should have figured that out. You go do it.
Or pay me double.
Or pay me double. Yeah. I'm not just going to do it just on my regular salary if it's like a Saturday morning,
Yeah.
If I am an independent freelancer with my own company, you got to give money back. Like, you got to.
Yeah.
You just can't
Full
just
refund,
walk
in my
away and say,
opinion.
like, sorry, like, had a little something
Yeah.
pop
I mean, the
up.
reception's nice, but like it's not the wedding.
Right.
It's not the whole point of the day.
Yeah, that's not what people are going to be watching, 20 years down the road. So, yeah, you have contracts in place, and a lot of the times we only hear about like the clients not honoring the contract and troubles with payment and negotiations and stuff. But like we don't hear that much about videographers not honoring their end of the contract. And part of the contract is like, yeah, if you screw up, there are some cases where you are giving their money back to them.
Dude, I saw this wild take in a Facebook group. He said his refund policy for losing footage is he refunds the percentage of the cards that were lost. So if they shot it on 4 cameras and they lost one camera, he'll refund you 25%.
Yeah, that's
but I was like,
ridiculous.
But what if it's the A camera? Because like if I lost our D camera footage, we lose like 3 clips.
Yeah.
What if we lost the A camera? Is it still 25%? So I think if you miss the wedding, and I think if you can't perform your job, I think the client deserves a full refund.
100%. It's like,
Well, I did some work. It's like, yeah, but you didn't like
work.
Yeah, not the work.
Yeah. Yeah,
I don't know.
it's like what I talked about on the other podcast when Our own personal wedding, we gave Walgreens our like 12 disposable cameras or 11 or whatever, and they lost every single one of them. And they're like, "Oh yeah, what's the price of those disposable cameras? We'll refund that." It's like, great,
Priceless.
thanks. Yeah, thanks for the cameras, but what about the photos? Right?
Yeah.
You can't really put a price on
Exactly.
that. So yeah,
Here's
you
a good
can.
food analogy for the kitchen. It's like buying an omelet, and they give you all the ingredients and say, "Well, I gave you the ingredients," or like it's like half cooked.
Yeah,
You know what I
make it
mean?
yourself,
Like you wouldn't pay for that.
It's like, let me calculate the cost of one egg. Yeah, it's like, it gets messy. Just don't do it. You just give them their money back.
I've never lost footage. I have had one bad experience where one of my very first weddings, I didn't find out until after. I never got like a wide shot of the venue, and it was a beautiful venue.
Yeah.
I just never got the shot, and my second shoot never got it either. And the bride got her film, and she asked like, "Did you shoot like show off the venue we booked?" And I was like, "Oh."
ooh.
And then I literally blamed the second shooter. And,
you didn't
but
do
then,
it.
But then like I had to like think about it, and I was young, I was heated, and she was being really sassy about it. But it was still like I was like, you know what? Looking back, I was like, no, why did I blame the second shooter? It's my business.
Own up to it.
I should have given them the direction to get that shot, not to hope they do it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So yeah, I think
learn.
videographers should be more. You're hired to capture someone's wedding, and companies like this, man, they just gotta go. They just
They
need
do.
to
Get
they
rid
just
of
gotta
them.
go.
Start naming
Okay,
names.
I did skim the videographers suck story submission. I think it's hand in hand with the topics today. I think we have time.
I think we got time.
If you want to tackle that one, yeah.
Yeah. Let me tackle this one.
It's a long one.
Okay.
I see some periods.
Are there periods? Thank
And it
the
says it's
heavens.
from a videographer professionally, but at the time of the story, the groom.
Oh, wow. Okay, different perspective here. Okay. Here we go. I'm a videographer. I'm a videographer, and I've been making videos for a bit. Wow, that was the first sentence. I love it. Okay. It wasn't until recently that I got into more professional work, such as weddings. In fact, I met my wife at one of the first weddings I filmed. She was the bride's sister, which worked out nicely. I ended up getting the gig because a friend of mine agreed to film their wedding, but realized later that he would be out of town, so he referred me to the bride. I was nervous, but in the end, it all worked out. Flash forward about a year when my wife and I got engaged, that same friend of mine offered to film our wedding. We had made the deal earlier to film each other's weddings for free, and so we were happy that we, being poor, wouldn't have to fork out $500 plus on top of the photographer. He does a pretty good job, and we would have been happy with about whatever he was able to do since it was free. But in true biscuit fashion, I've never heard that phrase before. in
From the South.
true biscuit fashion, my friend flaked out because he had another conflict in his schedule. He would be out of town as a youth camp counselor, bruh. So my best friend missed my wedding. He missed my wedding. We were not happy. I still give him crap about it today. The lame part is he came back the very next day. We still wanted to have a videographer, so I asked one of the groomsmen, who's also into videography, to film our wedding, and he agreed to it. Day of, we are in the temple, and we're in the temple. Is this an LDS one? You think so?
That's crazy.
Wow, I did not see that one coming.
Maybe they're Masons.
But yeah, when I saw the $500 price tag, I was like, okay, this could be an LDS wedding. Day of, we're in the temple, and the one empty seat was his. We assumed he was waiting outside for the temple exit, but after exiting, we realized he wasn't there. I texted him. All right, I texted him, and he said he totally spaced and thought the wedding was the next day. Second time saying, bruh. He showed up later with his camera
Your
stuff.
friends suck, bro.
But then forgot his SD cards. Third time in all caps, bruh. he didn't film. He didn't film anything at all. But I decided not to let it ruin our day. We regretted not just forking out the money for someone else to do it. Luckily, I was able to whip up a decent video from people's phones and using photos from the photographer, but still, it was so lame, not cool at all. A big thumbs down from us.
Man, threw both of his friends under the bus in this story.
Man, who are these friends?
I hope
Who are
your
these
friends are
companies,
listening.
dude? Who are these people?
Send them this clip. That is unforgivable.
That sucks.
My friends would be cut from my life the next day.
Yeah.
Gone.
Yeah, his buddy is an EFY counselor.
Dude,
hey, I gotta go to
classic
EFY,
story.
dude.
Yeah. Oh, it's a classic story though of literally getting what you pay for.
Oh man, that one hurts. That one hurts.
I mean, I know money's
friends.
tight for everybody.
I know.
Like it's all relative, and I know $500 is a ton of money to fork out.
Yeah,
But still,
yeah, it's your wedding. Come on, like just
And then
spend
don't you-
some money on the video.
I'm going to be gentle here because I think they said, where is it? We regretted not forking out the money for someone else to do it.
Yeah.
So he is aware. He does regret.
very aware.
So I won't be too harsh. It was a learning experience, but heartbreaking that it was his own wedding that he had to learn that from.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The-
And then
the
don't you
part-
like text your videographer and photographer the day before and be like, hey,
Like, hey
here's the
man,
time.
can't wait tomorrow. Here's the timeline. Yeah,
That's
the funny part he
crazy.
was talking about in the temple, just sitting there and just being like, "There's one missing person. There's one empty seat. Who could it be?" And here he is about to get married at the altar, and he's worried about, oh, he's not here. This is it. That's
so
a
sad.
That's a sad way to find out your videographer is not going to be outside the temple doors when you walk out.
I always think back to when we filmed Elias weddings a lot, like at the Salt Lake Temple.
Mm-hmm.
And I was just sitting there because you guys, for those who don't know, like a lot of these weddings, sometimes like you just get hired for the day and you meet the couple that day.
Yeah.
And you never meet them or talk to them. And so we just sit in the waiting room and they walk up the stairs. You shake their hands, you say congrats, you walk outside and it's go time. Like from the time you meet them, you're filming within
Yeah.
60 seconds.
Yeah.
And so you're always just kind of hoping and praying, and they're going to walk out without you because they're
Right.
That's just how this culture is.
Yep.
They'll assume you're outside, like so. You have to make sure you know their faces. But I was always so stressed in that waiting room. I was like, what if they just like walk past me and that's my couple? Or remember the feeling when you show up to a temple and you hear screaming and you're like, is that my
Oh
wedding?
man, yeah, that's
the worst feeling ever.
That is a terrible feeling.
But knock on wood, I have
Knock on
never
wood.
missed a wedding.
Yeah,
3 stories missing weddings, kind of
Yeah, crazy.
ruining weddings.
No, yeah. I in case the joke went over people's heads, I have missed a temple exit before. Terrible.
has.
One of the worst moments of my life. But I think we've talked about it already on this podcast, maybe in the very beginning episodes.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was luckily it was a very
My
close
favorite
family
is just
friend.
my perspective, getting a text from Nate in all caps, and I just knew in that moment because he asked like it was more like a hey, what are you doing? And I just knew. I was like, he's missing a wedding, and I was filming a wedding. I just knew it. So
Man.
funny.
It's not my fault. Utah has a temple it has a temple every 10 minutes away.
The church is taking over. Look out, everyone!
over the whole
Baptizing
state.
the nation.
Taking over the whole state, baby. Taking over the West.
Adam Grumble, we're coming for you.
Man, have you seen? I've seen this TikTok. It was hilarious, actually. It was just like a random TikTok. It wasn't even a trend. It was just a picture of the United States, and it says like pick your state. You're like, okay, and you just pick a state, and it just like simulates a war going on in the United States, and you just see the East Coast and the West Coast going at it, and then all of a sudden the East Coast overtakes every state, and then you see Utah as the lone surviving state. And then we get like New Mexico and Colorado, and we just start branching out, and then win over the whole entire
If we got
nation.
Texas, we'd win.
Dude, yeah. But
Guaranteed.
at the end, it was just the United States, and it was the Mormons versus the Amish, and the Mormons won. And everyone in the comments were like, "Utah for the win."
I believe it.
Yeah, we do have
Got
we
some
do like our
crazies here.
and we do like our guns. Yeah, we do have some crazies. Our friend Samuel is going to be the kingpin. Man,
I just realized I forked out $650 from my videographer.
no,
7 years ago. Yeah,
When was that? 2017.
Yeah.
Wow.
But, like we
650.
also had that was also like a significant chunk of the budget.
Yeah. I mean, they're cheaper wedding, and yeah, I mean, back in 2017, I think LDS
Yeah,
wedding
different
videography
world.
was even different world.
Yeah, it was.
Well, Jacob, I want to do something a little different today. It'll be
those who have
maybe
stayed to
like
the end?
for those who have stayed to the end. This will be like a little 5-minute, maybe 10-minute thing. So I have a new favorite podcast. It's called the Colin and Samir Show, and I think it's a really fun listen. And if I'm being honest, I hope that you and I can someday run a podcast as well as they do. I think we have similar chemistry, similar like viewpoints and ways of interviewing people and talking. I really like their podcast, but what they do at the end of some of their episodes, they call it the deep end. They're like, well, if you've made it to the deep end, which is like the last, couple minutes, they usually have like their outro, their takes, and sometimes they bring in people to talk about controversial things or hot takes or whatever. It's kind of just a fun way to end the episode. So I was thinking, well, how could we do that with the kitchen? So I was going to introduce a new section, and in kitchen terminology, we're going to call it the pass. Okay, this is the pass because that's
the oven.
No, because the pass, is when it goes to they approve it before setting it out. So the pass, I was thinking it was going to be a place where
And we're
you
expediters.
and I, yes, Jacob.
Same page.
I like where your head's at. Where we rattle off maybe just a quick hot topic or 2 or 3 or just as many as we want. And that's what we're going to try to do today. So I'm going to toss up a little softball here. I'm going to ask you a question and we're just going to riff for a minute or two. See what happens. Okay?
Guys, Nate is trying to cancel me. I swear. He's trying to get me to absolutely just be clipped and canceled.
Absolutely, but not this episode. We're just going to start nice and easy. This is a softball, okay? So let me ask you this question. Styled shoots. Let's talk about them, okay?
Okay.
As a wedding videographer, should you post styled shoots or not? Should you post them to your Instagram? Should you post them to your website? And if so, what, when, why, where, how many times?
Yes, because if you don't post it, what's the point of shooting it in the first place?
Right?
Answer me that question.
However, that's I'm totally in agreement here. I'm surprised at the amount of hate that posting styled shoots receives from some of like the quote big dogs in the industry.
Yes.
You probably know who I'm talking about.
Yeah, I've actually talked to a few of the big dogs about this topic actually. And there's only ever been one take that I really agree with, and I can okay, that's totally fair.
About not posting styled shoots?
Just their frustration with how saturated styled shoots are, and when they feel like everyone's feed is all styled shoots. And their take was, and these people have been doing it for 20 years, so for them, they had to come up the hard way.
Yeah.
They had to earn their spot. And the premise of a styled shoot is to kind of excel you into the next market. That's kind of what it's marketed as, whether you believe that or not. That's always what it's marketed as, is get the content you don't usually get so that you can show people what you can do. And so these big dogs, I think that we're taking the short, and which is our generation's whole MO, is to how can we make this a shortcut.
Yeah.
And so I do see that point of view when people are only posting styled shoots. And it's like, well, you haven't really earned it, but then I think that's also relative. So I do see both sides, but I personally think that style shoots do so much good for a videographer.
I agree. And if you look at our page, I mean, we've posted plenty of styled shoots. We're going to a styled shoot in an hour from now. Granted, we're not shooting it. We're shooting for a plan or just some BTS. But I mean, we just got back from a 10-day styled shoot. But I've always thought it's funny, and that is a different perspective you just shared that I'd heard. Yeah. I respect that. But my perspective is that most people, if you're in the commercial space, like when's the last time you've heard someone put aside their own money, hire talent, hire location, and rent out gear to film a spec ad, and then when they post a spec ad, people give them hate because it's a spec ad. Like, it just doesn't happen. The whole point is to show what you can do under, if you're given the chance, right? Sure, it's controlled lighting and you control when you shoot and all these things, but that's the point of it. you want to just show people what you can do. And for me, that's the same thing as a styled shoot. Styled shoots are just spec ads in the wedding space. So you should share them.
I agree. And I think it's on the videographers to be able to still capture an event. So
Exactly.
you're showing what you can do to elevate content at a styled shoot. But yeah, I think clients can see through. And if they don't, they will pretty quickly. If you can or cannot capture a live event.
Yeah.
Because
No, I agree.
in my opinion, the only problem with style shoots is you're really only working on bridals.
Yeah. Yeah, you're not really working
Unless
on
it's like one of those
much
shoots where they have like vows or, you're shooting city B-roll and you're kind of crafting your own story.
Yeah.
I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about like the shoots where you're really just capturing tablescapes and bridals. But to be honest, a lot of planners are really only caring about how you capture tablescapes and bridals.
how you capture their
I would say all. I would say some though. It's just the eye candy, and I think eye candy always sells. That's the problem. So
yeah.
no, I agree with you, Nathan. I think everyone should be practicing spec ads. I mean, some of my favorite filmmakers in the world, some of their best work to me, I'm like, that was a spec ad. That wasn't even you weren't even hired to do that.
Right.
Some of my quote unquote spec ads have turned into very profitable opportunities.
Right.
That we killed and got welcomed back again as proof that we actually, we weren't just spec ad people. So
Yeah.
no, I think the old dogs will always find something to complain about, and I think they're just jealous that they didn't have the opportunities.
Times have changed.
Or
Get
como se dice, the business mind to do their own styled shoots when they were up and coming.
Yeah.
Oh, we didn't have. Okay, well,
Why
guess
did
we
you make
improved.
it? Yeah. All right. Well,
guess we're all
I'm
thinking
glad. That's we're only gonna do one topic in the past today, just for time's sake.
I thought you were
yeah,
hit me with the cranking the shutter thing, and I was like, all
no,
right, here we go.
that's gonna be next week.
Okay.
Yeah, no,
It doesn't matter.
Yeah, no.
Hey,
the
guys,
whole
quick
point
question.
of the past is to cancel.
What
Jake.
is my shutter speed at right now? Oh,
Wave your hand in front of your face.
No, I can't. I just realized.
You just realize you're not recording.
No. All good.
Okay, I was like, oh gosh.
All good. All right, you guys, if you want to submit your own stories for the podcast, we will read them, react to them, judge you for them. We will link the submission link below. Seriously, we'd love
please.
to hear more of these hilarious wedding stories.
As
Makes me kinda
long
build.
as you punctuate your gosh
Yes.
dang sentences, please.
That's all we ask. It's
That's
a
all
simple
we ask.
request.
It's not that hard. Run it through chat if you need to before. Please.
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 But please submit. And
Yeah.
also, don't forget, check out Morocco. We'd love to party with you in Africa. But we will see you next week.
In the kitchen.
Love you. Bye.